Hey, welcome back to the channel. We got something on the bench still. I'm kind of working on my iNav build. Ran into kind of an interesting issue. Finally figured out what it was. So on the flight controller I'm using, this is the SkyStars F722 Pro 2. So I took it from Betaflight. I saved the backup file, so I dump filed and saved that from Betaflight. And then I went ahead and put iNav on this, and I accidentally put iNav HD instead of Pro HD. So I tried to get this back in the DFU mode so that I could update it to the Betaflight or iNav Pro version, and it would not go in the DFU mode. So kind of struggled with it for a little bit, had to make dinner and do all that stuff. So I'm back at it. It's kind of late, but I figured, you know what, while I'm working on this, might as well stream. So what I had to do to get in the DFU mode is I had to unsolder the power line to my receiver. So for some reason, when the receiver is connected to the flight controller, it won't go into DFU mode, which is quite interesting. So I can push in on the boot button and plug it into iNav, and it just will not go into DFU. So I unsoldered the 5-volt power line, and it worked. It went into DFU mode, no problem. Went ahead and flashed it with Pro, so now I'm ready to kind of jump in here and calibrate and go through all that stuff. So that's what I'm going to do. So that's kind of an interesting thing. I may make like a quick tip video on that. I've not ran into that before. Normally when you depress the boot button or put it into bootloader mode, it usually works. So I'll dig a little bit deeper, figure out like why did that happen or why does that do that. Right now I have it soldered back up because I'm going to do some things with the radio. But yeah, right now it won't go into DFU mode if I tried to. So we'll go ahead and get started messing around with this. So I'll get connected up to iNav. And let's see here. So board orientation, I'll just put it. So right now I have the arrow pointing directly at the computer. Let's go ahead and make sure right, left, back, front, back, front. And then we'll calibrate. So I had a piece of foam here. Just going to use the foam so it's not rocking on the chips and I can hold it nice and still. So place flight control in position showed in the image and press calibrate again. Repeat 6 positions. Keep it stable during calibration. So I have a piece of foam on the bench here. Let me grab that real quick. So like it's just a regular piece of foam you get from, I think this was a HD 0 module foam. So I'm just placing that on the foam. So it just needs to be horizontal, level. And so this will be first step. And try not to move or wiggle it while you're doing that. Sergio, how you doing? So I'm working on my my 7-inch iNav build. So now I'll put the flight controller upside down. I have a couple 7-inchers, and this one here is going to be kind of interesting because I'll be playing with LiDAR for the first time. I guess I need to switch the scene over to the iNav screen so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so next step, we're going to put the flight controller in that orientation. So I'm just going to hold that flight controller as still as I can so the arrow is pointing that way. And I'll go ahead and calibrate. Try not to, have too much jitter in my hands while I'm doing that. And then I will go So now I'll hold the flight controller. So now it's pointing straight up at the sky. I've got it pinned to the bench as best as I can. So that's going to be this grayed out square. So that'll be the next one. And now it says we're going to point to the left. So I'll go ahead and hold that like I was before. And then now it's saying point straight down. So I'll put it back on my phone. Because there's a HD connector. So now it won't teeter-totter on the board. All right, so that concludes my calibration process. So the gyro should be all good to go. And I just want to check my ports tab. Yeah, iNav. Is iNav like Betaflight? Yeah, iNav's like Betaflight. I believe iNav is better because position, hold, and return to home, and waypoints. So autonomous flight. I would like to have this go to specific GPS locations. I want to set up a grid pattern for my flight club, so when the guys lose their helicopters, planes, or drones, I can set it up in a grid and have it just kind of fly this specific grid, and that way I can pay attention in the goggle and see what's going on rather than the controls and everything. So I thought that iNav would be the best. FPV Gaps, how you doing? How fast does it go? How you gonna ask me if you can fly it? Betaflight is for manual flight. iNav is for robot flight. Yeah, iNav has a lot more features for autonomous flight. So I have my UART Serial RX on one. I'm not really worried about the other peripherals right now. I'm just kind of wanting to get some data into my telemetry here. Configuration. So I have a couple notes. So I have my barometer is the 280. So that's correct. I'm not really worried about the other stuff right now. I will get my optical flow and all that other stuff. Magnetometer, I'm not worried about that. Hypnos, how you doing, man? FPV Gap says, what's up, Hypnos? Make sure I turn my microphone back on. I was coughing there for a second. All right, and then I'm going to worry about some of this other stuff later. Make sure I turn off a couple things. ADC, all that. I'm going to keep the failsafe to drop right now. I got a long ways to go before I have to mess with that. Receiver, Serial RX, and turn on my radio here. Twice in one day, Morton. I tell you what, I'm gonna give me one moment. Morton Upshot said twice in one day. That I was so aggravated because I couldn't get this to go into DFU mode, and I figured out why it wouldn't, and I rectified the situation, but I'm not quite clear as like what exactly happened. Let me get a little further ahead before I get too far into that. All right, so I need to bind up to my receiver. So let me get my telemetry here. I'll get my Express LRS going. All right. So yeah, just really strange. The flight controller wouldn't go in the DFU mode because the receiver was soldered on. Let me jump back over the bench here. I'm gonna disconnect from here. So the receiver plugged into the flight controller won't allow it to go in the DFU mode. I had to unsolder the 5-volt line to my receiver for it to go in the DFU mode. Never really experienced that before, but it won't go in the DF mode right now. If I push the bootloader button and then plug it in, it won't go. So right now I'm just looking at my receiver, making sure it's all connected up. So it looks like I'm good here. Jump back to iNav and go into receivers tab and see if I got some movements here. All right, so my roll, throttle, and pitch is all wrong. So that's going to be old Spectrum, the old tear. Ready to fly, she says. Yeah, I hear you. You hear my radio here, ready to fly, ready to fly. Let's jump over here to chat real quick. We got Sergio, FPV Gaps, Greed Fox, Hypnos, FPV Gaps, Morton, Joe. Appreciate y'all swinging in while I'm messing around with this. All right, so I'll just make sure my 2,099, 1,000, 2,000. All my switches, you look at all them bad boys. So 5 through 12, or 5 through 11. Make sure I don't have any other ones on. Jump back over here to the bench. So I've got my my telemetry screen set up. Pretty cool instrumentation here, so it kind of gives you some feedback if you're flying line of sight, which I do plan on doing some. And then of course you have the other screens and everything, so a lot more telemetry data to come. Obviously I have all the peripherals yet to hook up to it, so right now the only thing working is the accelerometer, gyro, and then any information coming back from my receiver. AETR, that's what you run? Making sure my chat stays up with the window this time. I don't know, it's been weird. Like YouTube chat has been freezing up on me. So like sometimes I'll be in a live stream and it's like, man, I'm the only one in here. What is going on? And then I'll refresh it and it's like I missed out on a lot of conversation. Let's jump back over here. So I think everything looks good in there for right now. I'll mess with the RC smoothing later, depending on how much I need to add or retract. So we need to get some arming, definitely some pre-arming. I do like using angle. I'd never use horizon, but I turn on it anyway because it's already on a switch. Air mode I always put on a switch. I tell you what, you can make fun of me if you want, and I know FPV Gaps is going to say something because I put together a quad. I like motor stop and air mode on a switch because when you fly into a cornfield or into a tree or brush, you can arm your quadcopter and the props won't spin. I put a beeper on that, so when I'm armed, my beeper's beeping. But that way, your props aren't spinning, and the PID loop's not involved while it's not spinning. So that way, you can kind of bump it. You can kind of hop yourself around rather than it just catching something and then going off because air mode. So I disable air mode, and with the throttle all the way down, the props turn off. So that way I could just kind of bump my way out of the. I can literally crawl through the grass if I need to. So I've always done that. So some people would ask me like, why do you put air mode on a switch? That's why, because I use motor stop. I just like it. It's like iNav added turtle mode. I don't think they had it on the other one that I use. So a lot of stuff in here. I'll get back in here later. Let me see here. Pre-arm angle. So for now, that's what I'll use. So interestingly enough, in Betaflight they say augs, and in here they actually say the channel. So I know like what all of them are. So my arming is channel 5, or should be in the next channel up. So it's channel 7. So I'm gonna have to remap that to channel 5. Pre-arm. So that's disable. William, how you doing? Welcome. So we'll get pre-arm and then angle mode. I do use horizon mode. Or not horizon. I use angle, but I just put horizon in there anyway. Air mode's on a switch. So I can disable air mode, so that's on all the time. Fly Zone, how's it going, man? Then turtle. I really hope to not use turtle mode on this quad, but it's always best to have it, even if you're not planning on using it. So pre-arm and air mode are on the same switch, but they're teeter-tottering with each other. So beeper's in the center. So I'll save that. Now I need to go back to receiver and figure out why is channel 5. What do I have assigned to channel 5? All right, so none of them activate channel 5, so that means I have a logic switch still in here. Yeah. Doing all right, Fly Zone. I tell you what, man, I was sick for the holidays, so I'm feeling better today. I'm feeling better now than I have in quite a few days. I'm going to disconnect this here in a minute. It's starting to get a little warm. I was going to put my fan on it, but it makes too much noise, and I thought it might annoy somebody. So right now, my channel 5, my arming should be channel 5. And for some reason, it's on channel 7. So we'll jump in the radio and fix that real quick. Let's jump back over to the bench, and I'm going to disconnect my iNav, let that cool off a little bit here.
Telemetry lost.
Heard through a reamer this is going on your beast build. uh, yeah, Robert's referring to my. I begged Ruby at T Motor to see if T Motor would sponsor a beast class build. I really want a 13-inch, but I would never spend the money on it just because it would be more of a novelty thing to me. You know, it's not like you can go freestyle your park with a 13-inch. But yeah, no, this will be my rescue drone number 2 is basically what's happening. So there's 15 people in here that know the secret. Rescue drone number 2. Yeah, I mean, Robert, you're right. My live streams are nowhere near as good as John's, but I don't know. I think there'd be enough people. I know the guys at the flight club would dig it. Seeing a 13-inch rip through the air. I think like the ESCs, they're like $140 a piece, and I was gonna talk to Amari. He's a pro pilot, and he's an X class pilot. He's a DRL pilot. He's a really good pilot. Beyond being a good pilot, he's a really good person. I talked to him several times at IO and otherwise, and he told me he would help me. You know, obviously I would have to have like all my ducks in order before I got a hold of him to make sure I know what I'm doing. But if I got into a problem or something, he said he would get me out of a jam. So, but he has these motors. I don't know if I have a picture. Let me bear with me 1 second. If I got a picture of his drone, it would be really cool. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know if I have. That would be International Open 2021, I think. I was race director for the X class track and beginners, so I dealt with all the beginners and X class. And he brought this quad. The motors were amazing. They were custom built for him. Yeah, I don't have a picture in here. Sorry. Oh, I do. There they are right there. Let me show you some of these X-Class builds. These things are really neat. And listening to them rip through the air, nuts. Let me see here. Let me just adjust the picture real quick. I don't want to just show you like some cruddy little thumbnails. Let me see if I can blow them up and give them a little perspective. All right, so here's one of them. So this is like, 4 or 5 inch quadcopters on one quadcopter. This isn't Amari's. This is another guy that was there. Now, do you see? Let me see if I can change my internet screen here. Let me add my camera. It takes me a little bit to get my scenes worked out because I have to do it all manual. Let me see. Where's my camera at? There it is. There. Okay. So now you can see me. This this now if you look inside between the two 5-inch lower ones, you see the one with the peanut butter and jelly props. That's my super duper mega ultralight. That's my like just let me give you an example. This is my super duper mega ultralight. And you could see it sitting on the table between them other ones. Like that's a big quad. When it flies through the air, it makes a sound. Let me catch up on chat here. You guys are great for advertising. Project that was a big flow. Yeah, tiny trainer spec. Greed Fox says tiny trainer spec is fun. There's guys that race them here. I don't have one myself, but there's a really cool race that they were doing in Mansfield. I don't know if they're going to do it again, but it was a tiny trainer race, and it was inside an abandoned warehouse. It looked like a lot of fun. Robert says I won the $450 motor ESC combo. PropsOff John's channel the other day. You won that. You won that $450 combo. Man, that's awesome. Nappy, how you doing, man? Hypnos and Nappy in here. I hope everybody's seen our Christmas live stream. I know there was a handful of you that were in there the whole time, all 4 hours. I'd love to fly X class, but no room. You do need a lot of room. These gates that we set up, that they were flying through, they were 10 foot. They were huge gates, but when they were flying through them, it was like, I mean, it was like putting a 5-inch through a 5-inch gate or a 5-foot gate, you know. I built an X class off the parts from Cyclone FPV, and it's still up in those super high 4-legged power poles. You got your X class that you built? Oh, it was that Cyclone FPV when he did he did like a buyout sale or something. He had some pretty good deals on some stuff. You got it stuck in one of them high tension power poles? Yeah, so each one of those quads, so there's a each one of those quads has a 4-in-1 ESC in it. So they have 16 ESCs. Greed Fox, what weight? You're asking about weight? Weight of what? Nappy, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Nappy says, "Do y'all know that PropsOff has a Patreon?" I do. I got talked into putting one together, and I appreciate my patrons, Nappy and Hypnos. Yeah, my little super duper mega ultralight 138 G4S 5-incher V2, or no, it's V5.2 now. That's just me making fun of these manufacturers. So, like over all these years, you'll see the manufacturer will have the same quad, and they'll modify it a little bit, and they just add to the name. So then it's even cooler, right? The more names it has, the cooler it is. So that's why I just kind of make it fun. But that project was 9 months. Total weight. So this dude here, I'm actually pretty proud of it, because this dude right here, it has DJI, ELRS DJI, and has the Mamba was it the F740 all in one stack crammed in there. And then I made all these custom TPUs. So I use these TPUs in giveaways. So like I'll get a hold of Serge at Pyrodrone because this is his frame, and he'll let me do some giveaway frames, and I'll put my TPUs with it, so that way it's exactly like mine. But all up with a 4S lipo is 242 grams. I think 442 grams. So it's legit under. It's legit to sub 250. And it hovers at 8%. I have a video on my channel when I was flying with Nappy in Columbus. My Optic, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. I got sidetracked. I'm supposed to show you the motors on that quad that Amari has. Let me see if I can find it here. Let me go back to the bench because I don't want to just go through scrolling through pictures because you never know which one I might have. So this is another one. This thing was gnarly. Is that coming through? You're still stuck on that one. Oh, I'm behind on my live stream. It's coming. Or no, it's not. See if I can get the... Oh, I see. If I minimize the screen, it won't show up. There we go. Sorry about that. Sometimes race X class at West Coast Throwdown. Yeah, I was really, I don't know. This past I.O., there was no 3D helicopter stuff. There was no wing racing. There was no X class. There was no freestyle. Like, I hope that they have, it takes people to make those things happen. So hopefully they can make that stuff happen again. But this dude right here, it was pretty wicked. Let me see. I'm not sure why it's not doing like a slideshow. If I change the settings, is that going to come through? Oh, it does. Okay. Okay. So now I've messed it up by pushing a button here. I'll get better at this as time goes on. But it's obvious that I'm not very great at it. I don't know why that screen collapsed. Oh, the life. Here we go. I'm not really sure. I think when I minimize it, it just like kills it. This one here, that isn't folded up. That quad is built that way, so it's super stretched. And watching it go through the air was crazy. And then here's see if I can capture the audio from that.
Yeah.
What's your pilot name?
Well, Ricky.
Can you hear the audio coming from that?
Extra
crispy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sound like KFC.
Bought about $600 worth of stuff off him,
Or
or triple that amount at least.
So don't make us do a
Yeah, the four, you can see you can see it's pretty responsive in the air. The only
Yeah,
thing
it is
is
pretty
is there was some yaw, like there were some yaw issues.
wants to take
So when
off
he would
on
start
yaw?
to yaw, the other three ESCs
Ooh.
would, it's supposed to, kind of go down.
that's just rudder.
Yeah.
So it would kind of shudder as he would yaw. So he had some stuff to figure out with that, but that thing was pretty cool.
See that? I'm not doing that.
What beta flight version are you on?
There's the freestyle. Yeah, we missed that last year. Yeah, my super duper's pretty good. Willie, how you doing? When's the museum tickets going on sale? You know what? Interestingly enough, there's some talk in the background. I don't know if I'm going to be involved in the museum or not. So we'll see. Greed Fox, you have one of those. Chat's not lagging that bad. Let me apologize right now. I'm holding my chat so that I'm not missing stuff. So like chat is going on, and I'm the one lagging behind because I'm trying to catch up with it. So I kind of held it in a spot. So it's not the stream. I don't think it's me. I want to make sure that I answer each person. So I don't want to get too far behind, but it's me. Yeah, when my super duper was analog, I was 138, so 138 grams. Yeah, that tri-blade was pretty wicked. Made their own version X class and used it one time. Yeah, mega class, that's what they call it. The only fans. Don't worry about that, Morgan. Hypnos, I appreciate it, man. Thanks. A little super guy flying. My 5th super on lives. Let's celebrate 5th super. That's my 5th super chat ever. That would sound amazing. 16 prop quad. Yeah, fun for Volt. How you doing? Tried to get in last year and couldn't get a ticket. He tried to get into the museum last year, couldn't get the ticket. Yeah, tickets can be kind of, man, they go really fast. I think one year they went out like 32 seconds. I think they sold out. Like, I don't even know how that's possible. Let me jump back over to the bench. I was trying to find, I had a video from IO. I think it might be.
These guys are going at it. Okay,
Yeah,
two props here. He's going for props out. And this guy here is still
Did it again.
running the nuts.
Man, I'm terrible.
All right, let's go.
So if I minimize the screen, that's what happens.
What do you have to say about this?
Okay. So I got to stop doing that.
Inactivity alarm.
Oh boy. I'm busy reminiscing here, showing off some pictures. This is stuff that I didn't post. I don't know. Sometimes I don't feel like posting stuff. But this is from the tiny
You guys are
town.
going at it. Okay, we have two props here. He's going for props out. And this guy here.
So that
is
was
still
not this
running
past
the nuts.
tiny roof, but it was the one before. I think they had the dragon in the ceiling.
Let's go, let's go. Move it,
I think that's what they called it.
What do you have to say about this?
Yeah, I was just
Oh,
wondering.
I don't even
Making
want to
sure-
talk about that. This turned out pretty cool because I was able to get the FPV footage of them flying through there.
Nope. All right, on the tone.
Yeah, learning the lives. Nothing like learning how to live stream during the live stream.
All right, they're out.
Yeah, there ain't no live stream simulator. I know there's a device called a Stream Deck, but I don't even know if that would even help me.
Looks like the Chili's
Honestly,
versus the tunnel.
I don't even know if that would help because
The Chili's first down.
it's a matter of looking down and pushing the right buttons to begin with.
On top of it. Rush is stuck. Where's Rush? Someone help him out.
This was pretty
Don't
cool.
turn no Rush. Rush, call out where you are. Someone out. There you go. He's back up. Zach with a small bubble and Chili's in the hurdles first.
I'm trying to remember what year it was. Blue Jay was there, so you know it was a couple years back. Is it 22? Yeah, I think it is 22. Yeah, that was a good year. 19 was fun. 19 was hot. It was like 96 degrees that day.
It's like we
I
got
got a whole bunch of pictures. I bet I got 100 some pictures from that because I ran the first. I was there 4 days. The first 2 days I spent all morning and afternoon and part of the evening running to the tracks. And then the next 2 days I was at the freestyle and just kind of running around trying to meet everybody and got to hang out with my buddy Matt Gank, and it was fun. I could spend all night showing pictures of that stuff. I was supposed to work on this iNav build. Yeah, hotkeys. That might help. Yeah, I'm probably stone aging it over here with a mouse and clicking through my OBS like a Neanderthal, but I don't know. I get around, I guess. So on my, that's what I needed to do is I need this on channel 5. So ELRS, it's pretty important that on your ELRS that you have the first channel. So your 4 channels, obviously. I'm looking at chat and everybody in here's pretty experienced. I probably don't even need to say it, but these are the first 4 channels. So then the very next channel would be your arming. That's kind of what they want to see. So I need to check and see why it's coming up. So you can see in here, that's why it's doing that, because I actually copied my rescue drone build for this model, and it still has logic switches involved. Times have changed since I started building that toward the latter part of 2018, and so much has changed now. So like logic switches they're not a thing of the past, but you don't really use them that much because they've incorporated so much of it in the Betaflight and iNav. So we'll get rid of the logic switch and make sure that it's set up here. Now it's just ARM. So I have quite a few. It's a 13. And mixer. Take it out of there as well. I've already deleted them in the logic screen to You see that? Does that look all right? Unfortunately, my camera is like super cheap, so I don't have any way to zoom in and out. Have my output set up, and then so like I got rid of all my lot. I'll add some in there later because there are a couple things I want it to do, special functions as well. And then telemetry, that's kind of what I'm after tonight, is getting that stuff set up correctly. But yeah, that should work. So now we'll jump back over to iNav and make sure that our channel 5 is working the way it should.
Telemetry recovered.
So now arming should be channel. So there, see channel 5 go, and I flip it, and so beeper's on channel 7, and then arming is on channel 5. So now when I go into my modes, I need to change this to channel 5, and then in the 2000 position for arming, that's kind of a mandatory thing from the ELRS devs. So they want the arm in the armed position at 2000 on channel 5. So we'll save that. So now we're armed. So now when I pull up on my pre-arm and arm it, we're good to go. My air mode is off. Air mode is on. Pre-arm is off. Disarmed. Okay. So I got all my switches set up. I think that's about all I needed to do in here for now. I'll get the build and everything going. Jump back over here to the bench. Disconnect from iNav. But yeah, that's really, really strange. I've never ran into that before. With this, I don't know if it's specific to the SkyStars flight controller. But if your receiver is soldered on and powered up, it will not go in the bootloader. You hold that button down, plug it in, it won't work. Unsolder the power wire off your receiver, hold it down, plug it in, DFU mode pops right up, no problem. So definitely something that stumped me for a little while. I was eating dinner, I was getting upset because I'm like, why is that doing that? Yeah, so build a rescue drone to rescue the rescue drone. Touch screen is slick. Have the boxer, never mess with the control setting. I'm not really afraid of messing it up. You know, I'm an advocate of don't break, don't fix what ain't broken. But I brought my radio up to the newest Edge TX. Probably you must check out John at RC Radio Review. Let me just pull up his channel real quick. Because when it comes to knowledge, the TX16S, there's nobody else quite like it. His channel is pretty amazing. Let me pull it up real quick. I'm going to link it in the description. RC Video Reviews. He has 40,000 subs. I thought he had more than that. I thought he had 42 or 46. Let me see here. Let me show you guys what I'm looking at. Sorry. So this is his channel. Let me see if I can figure out how to. See if I can figure out how to share it. Let me grab it here, copy. So go sub his channel, and anything you need to know about Edge TX, especially like some of the like the Buddy box configuration, companion, some of the Lewis scripts, some of the other widgets. It doesn't get much better. I don't really make too much content when it comes to this radio, because I just share his video. Make sure it's off. Yeah, Robert is you fly with him, don't you, Robert? Don't you guys hang out? So we have don't even use VTX backpack. I just go through yeah, you can. Instead of using the VTX, I'm reading back in chat. Greed Fox said, don't even use the VTX backpack. So you don't use the Lewis script administrator, just through OSD. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I do like the VTX administrator, because when we're racing and they're like, you need to change this or that, it makes it really fast. Receiver on number 1 UART. Yes, Morton, it is on number 1 UART. Can you put in a DFU mode in the... No, it wouldn't. CLI, it wouldn't go into bootloader mode at all. I had to unsolder the receiver. That's common to have that issue. Had the same problem with the receiver blocking DFU mode. My optics said he had the same. All right, it must be if it was so well known. I wish I could have found some information real quick. I just kind of thought, you know what, maybe that's doing that, and I unsoldered it and it worked. Flyzone said, what's up? Fun provoke. That's not an iNav or Betaflight thing. It's a hardware. So it's just that, is it an F7 processor hardware? Flyzone said he watches RC video reviews. The receiver, it can be anything GPS or wow. So you definitely don't want to have to put that dude into bootloader mode after you build your quad. That would be a bummer. Yeah, he is a guru. There's nobody out there, in my opinion, that knows as much about that radio as he does. But he gets to talk directly with Radio Master. So like when they change something, or like tech bulletins, that's what I really wish that I had. I don't want to. I don't grovel. I don't beg, and I don't ask. But if I had 10,000 subs, supposedly these manufacturers would send me prototype and stuff. So they would send me things and information before they release it to the masses. And I've contacted each one of them, and they're like, yeah, we'd love to do that once you hit 10,000. And it's like so frustrating. But I would love to have tech bulletins sent to me by these manufacturers when they find out there's a change, or they have a change order to do something new. I'd love to know about that, so that I could figure out a way to like break it down into layman's terms and get it out to the rest of the people. Because the thing is if us as FPV enthusiasts in the community, if someone's frustrated and we don't help them, they quit, and then our community gets smaller. Well, what happens when it gets smaller? You don't have as many choices. You know, if there's no money in it, then people aren't going to be making stuff for it. So I'm kind of an advocate for that. Nappy, if you get a new Patreon during this stream, me and Hypnos will hook them up with a rec shirt. You heard it. Nappy said, if I get a Patreon, they're going to send you a wrecked t-shirt. Is that any size, any color? This I was supposed to go, and now because of my ribs, I can't. Live in North Hannibal. He lives in Florida. Yeah, dude, you guys hear Robert's got some broken ribs. Man, I thought about that earlier too, because as soon as you said that, I remember my friend slipping and falling on his cooler. Man, like breathing shallow. Make sure you taking deep enough breaths so you don't get pneumonia or something. This was supposed to be going. Now I can't because of my ribs. I live in North Alberta, and he lives in Florida. North Alberta. Why is that not? I'm pretty good at, geographical locations, and I don't know why that's not coming up in my head. My optics said I could use a rec t-shirt. So, if I remember right, Nappy, correct me if I'm wrong, you got pink, blue, black, red, pink, blue, black, red. Is that it? Color-wise? I know you had a bunch of sizes. He's kind of part of the developing team. Oh, I didn't know that he was part of the. So his feedback going back and forth is helping them write software. Or is he actually coding? I knew he's working with them enough, but I didn't know he's part of the development team. Yeah, like I said, you need to know anything about. He has the Zorro too, doesn't he? He has like a couple different Radio Master products. Nappy's gonna make me put it in there, ain't he? Yeah, it's in the description. I have kind of a general, like a default form that goes in there. So he's a beta tester too for the Edge TX guys. Does Edge TX have they don't have a university like the OpenTX? Because I know OpenTX University is really good. I give that to like STEM programs. So like I work with middle school and high school and college, and also adult, like night school adult. So like I always tell them, here I'll send them the glossary, because learning the terminology is the way to go. Because if you know all the terminology, then you can ask appropriate questions. But I can't remember if Edge TX, I think they piggybacked, but I don't remember if they had their own glossary terms, because I know they have some new stuff. Oh, myopic. I do that. I'm sorry. He said I would, but PropsOff has to pronounce my name without a T. It's a P. Myopic. I don't know why I put a T in there. Now, mind you, I'm looking at my cell phone for chat, and it's like this big, and my eyes aren't great anymore. I apologize. Myopic. Okay, so that's interesting. So Morton says usually bites you after you build. So we're talking about the flight controller not wanting to go into bootloader mode because I have my receiver connected to UART1. He said that usually bites you after the build, but if you build it with like your VTX on UART1, then it's not powered without plugging in the LiPo, and it won't mess with it. Is that right? So it's a UART1 issue? North Alberta, Canada. I thought you were down in Florida area. I don't know why I thought you were a southerner. Morton, I'm not even repeating that. Oh, you think you have gray as well? Okay. Off access. How you doing? Do you have a Zorro with the MO1 gimbals? Yeah, I have my Zorro. I don't know. The AGO1 gimbals, I put them in my Zorro, and I kind of debated, like, was it really worth it? Because the stock gimbals are pretty good. I could have wore them out before, purchasing the new ones. But these AGO1s were so impressive. That's why I just wanted them for my Zorro right away. But afterwards, I could have ran those stock gimbals for a while before putting the AGO1s in it. He has 8 radios now. Scully does it at every race. I can't believe that. Scully is so good at that stuff. He sat with me. He literally took like an hour of his time, okay? And you know how they rush him around at multi-GP. But he sat with me for an hour, and it was the coolest thing because he was announcing, because I don't know if you know it, but I'm kind of I like announcing. I think it's really fun. And if I can get it right, it makes other people's heart rates raise up. So that's what makes it super fun. But Scully was sitting there, and he would point at the screen as he was announcing. So he was showing me why he was saying it, when he was saying it, and where it was located. So like when he was watching live time, now mind you, at these bigger races, they'll have more than one timer. But as he's going through, he's showing me why. And it kind of clicked with me like, oh, okay, I understand now, but he has such a savvy way of picking on the top, 2 pilots in the race. I don't know how he does it. He can keep track of it pretty good. Myopic says, Morton's upshot's on point. I saw this reflashing Bayflight crossbore with external RX. Myopic, I appreciate it. You hear that, Nappy? Hypnos? You're gonna have to hit up Nappy so he can send it to you. Morton, you this afternoon when I was having issues with the DFU, you had mentioned it in chat and I missed it. Yeah, Scully's announcing is unmatched, unparalleled. It's really good. He gets them going too. There he is. Nappy's right there. You see him in chat right there. Hit him up. It's interesting you bring that up. Myopic's bringing up the timing. I've been looking at the rotor hazard, and I actually was looking at building one, and I put everything in a cart, and I'm not really going to spend that much right now, but I got to use the rotor hazard at the UDL race. So on my channel, the last UDL race, let me show it to you while I'm in here. I just had like a short video on it. But Isaac, the founder of UDL, he let me basically let me.
I'm done spending an obscene amount of money on takeout every week. Done.
I'm getting back on track with Factor Fresh.
Blah, blah, blah. Let me pause that. So this is the UDL race, and he was using the rotor hazard. And I really liked it. I really liked how you can change the in and the out points. I'm kind of curious to wonder, is that gonna allow DJI and walk snail pilots to come race finally? You know, can you get those set in there just right, so you could have like one whole heat for DJI and one whole heat for walk snail, or together, because their bandwidth is so big. Right now, we haven't figured out a positive way of, like, we can't put them in the same heat with analog and HD0 because it blows them out, and then their timing isn't correct. Yeah, but this was super fun. I had a good time. This is my bracket, my last bracket race, where I pinned myself underneath the bench. I'm really good at that. Thank you a lot, Nappy. I appreciate you doing that. Nappy and Hypnos for doing the shirt giveaway. The software that runs the race is chaos. Yeah, with live time. I don't know. I might have to like find me a mentor. All right, Robert. Have a good night, man. Appreciate you coming back. Oh yeah, Morton. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I flashed the non-pro. Gotta go to bed, nappy. All right, man. Have a good night. Thanks for doing that. So yeah, that race was super fun. Had a really good time. Everybody's so fast, you know. You get it in your mind like, oh, I'm gonna do so good, and then you get up on the line and it's like, wow, everybody's like really put some time in, you know. Everybody there was fast. You can use all the video systems with rotor hazard. See, that's where I'm at. Like, isn't it about time to kind of live stream some of the stuff that we're doing? I've been talking to FPV Gaps. FPV Gaps runs Gaps Training Ground out of his shop. So it would be fun to live stream some stuff, but as long as we don't have the microphone on ambient sound. So you can run 7-up DJI pilots, or you running 7-up with DJI pilots involved. That's interesting. Greed Fox says you have digital, you have racers separated too. Yeah, those cob lights on there, they're really cool. I'm kind of fond of my old school 1206. Greed says runs weekly races here. We don't have that many. Yeah, I have to say, I don't think we have any. We had some. They showed up, and you know, we just couldn't get their timing correct, and you know, they were kind of put on the back burner in a way, and I don't know if they got frustrated or whatever. They did not come back. Yeah, that new 8-way timer, man, that's what, $700 some dollars, almost $800 after shipping and tax and everything. You could do 8 DJI pilots, but you can't do 8 because of the public channel. So you're really running 7 of them guys together and not having any issues. We might have to talk later. I'm honestly, I'm maybe I might be looking for some mentorship. I might just jump on multi GP and ask if anybody wants to. I need to read first before I like start asking people for their time. I need to read up on it. I've read quite a bit on GitHub. I built an entire 8-up rotor hazard timer. I put everything in a cart, tried to understand what all the components were and everything. Once I seen the total, I was kind of like, oh, that's cool. And then I went back to reading more literature. Yeah, trackside, that's what Isaac was using. Flexo, how's it going? Welcome to the live stream. I was just sitting here working on some stuff on the bench and got caught up in chat. We're just having fun hanging out. I've been nasty cold this week, and I finally started feeling a little better, and I wanted to get some of this stuff done. But yeah. So when you get everybody on the line, what do you have? Each pilot stand like 15 feet apart? Because their telemetry coming out of the goggles is what messes things up if they're standing too close, yeah? Four racers up max. Because HD0 event, VRX, catch wait. Yeah, we usually, when we're doing whoop racing, we only run 4 up. We never run anymore. Outdoor racing normally is never more than 5, but we don't really have that many people showing up. This year's kind of been, I don't know, I don't want to say a bummer, but like some of these openers, like last year we had 26 people at this opener, and this year there was 8. Some of the outdoor racing had to be canceled because nobody signed up. So I'm kind of concerned. That's why I'm doing my FPV share challenge. I know everyone in chat. I'm pretty sure all of you are well aware of my community challenge to share the hobby with a total stranger so that we can maybe get more people involved. I know a lot of times I've talked to people and they're like, I'm too intimidated to go to a race, or I'm too intimidated to meet up, and it's like, I don't know. I think if more people are willing to share the hobby with strangers, we could get more people in the hobby. Only if you mix DJI and non. Oh, interesting. Okay. I'm not real savvy with DJI. I don't try to answer questions about DJI. I've got the V2 goggles and some V2 goggles and like 2 Vistas and an air unit I haven't installed yet. By the way, let me thank for the goggles, this and the other. I had one of my subscribers give me their goggles and one of the air units and 2 of the Vistas, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Otherwise, I wouldn't have it. An event VRX is costly. I tell you what. I looked at that monitor, the HD0 monitor, and I wanted it for the longest time, and it's coming. Somebody was selling it, and I went ahead and purchased it. So I'm excited for it to show up. You guys are running 6 up at your whoop races? How many people you have showing up to your whoop race? Ran one pilot on DJI once, kept trouncing his name's signal. Yeah, that's the only thing when you're flying, you get around the corner and then you just get like just the horizontal bars knock you out. I got you. It's local. Yeah, you let him crash your quad while he's learning for the first time. Yeah, Hypnos was using that. That's that. I'll be honest with you, Hypnos. That impressed me. Everything impressed me. Everything that you set up, all your gear, everything was working. But that monitor did impress me because that thing was on the whole time, and it didn't. I don't think it degraded at all. Do you? Over over the entire. I mean, that was a 4 hour live stream. I know you didn't turn the monitor on until what, after the interview part. So that was like, was it on before the interview? I was impressed. It didn't seem to degrade. Like the quality of, I watched the whole live stream back, and it looked pretty good. Helped his dad and his kids set up Christmas. Let him crash my quad instead of his to learn first safety. Lesson was it landed in a lake. don't, you know, my dad always told me no good deed goes unpunished. You telling me that the new pilot you let fly it, threw it in the, put it in the lake? I don't mean to laugh, but it just kind of, I can't imagine somebody flying my gear and putting it in the drink. Yeah, Flexo says got to be careful with other. There is an etiquette. Don't plug in your quadcopter unless you're the one up to fly. It's simple. If it's not your turn to fly, don't plug your quad in. Mix of pilots this year 6, 12, 12, 8. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where we've been for the whoop racing. The outdoor didn't do so good. But man, it was terrible this year. Our summer was terrible. It was like 90 some degrees, feels like temperature, 90 some degree, like every race day. Yeah, I don't know about y'all, but I ain't racing in no 96 degrees. That HD0 monitor ran for 3 hours that night, and it didn't degrade at all that I could tell. So I'm impressed. So you're in Idaho. Yeah, I mean, if you're pulling 6, 12, 12, and 8, that's pretty good. I mean, that's as good as what we're doing around here. I remember like 2000, 2016, 17, 18. I mostly was spectating then, way too intimidated to race. There's quite a few people. I feel like, I don't know why, but it feel like 18 was like the hiatus. Like that was the most enthusiasm. I mean, even like wives and girlfriends were coming to watch. Uh, that's kind of a thing of the past. Yeah. Yeah, golden rule, don't plug in. Yeah, with the bad weather and everybody like what to do. I don't really drink. Um I like to have, an IPA or something, a couple times a month. But that's all there is to do around here is that's bars. Like there's unless you got a bunch of money to go rent something or do something. So whoop racing's great. It's fun. Weather's not good. You can go hang out with your buddies. I'm not hanging out with anybody tonight because I don't think I'm contagious, but I'm still under the weather. I ain't feeling all that, 100%. Flexo let two of his closest friends fly a quad and angle one time. Actually did great. One of them did hit a school bus. It was his bus, so it's okay. Yeah, 2016 was kind of the year that I started really getting into it. I was kind of hanging out with the camera guys. I'm not going to say camera snobs, but like it was two very separate things. You had the guys that were flying to capture video and photography, and then you had, the FPV race crew. So it was pretty separated. I don't know if it's really that way now. It might be just as separated as it's always been. But FPV was pretty expensive to get into. And then Andy RC came out with this, I don't know, a magical thing. You had a Hubsan X4. Yeah. Yeah, I had the Hubsan. I had a Hubsan in 2012. I had a Hubsan H107C, I think it was. And it was just a small little SD card camera quad. It was like, and I was like, this is it. This is what, everybody in the world's going to want one of these. And I got quite a few friends to get one, and we messed around with them. Yeah, 2016. I mean, I would say 18 was like, that's when, it seemed like the gear got a lot cheaper. And, I hate to say it, DJI came along and, when we hang out, we can't all drop goggles and watch everyone fly. So I think that part of the community suffered. It seemed like people could watch you fly. Trying to think if I had another video in here I was going to share at some point in time. Wish I got into FPV 2016, yeah. Yeah, analog. I tell you what, I got my analog so clean, you couldn't talk me into buying HD for a long time. Now, I fly my HD Zero goggles with the UWL racing because I don't know, man, that HD Zero with the LED track and all that, it's just so good. Well, I'm going to do this flight controller up. I got quite a few things yet to do to it. I got some notes. I got my Fly Color ESC. I'm kind of hopeful that this works out. It's really light compared to the T-motor. It has a bit more capacity. I was surprised. This thing is pushing almost 1,300 microfarads all by itself. So kind of surprised about that. But I'm gonna end up putting this into a Source One V3 7-inch. I had custom frame cut by CNC Madness. So I still have to go through this bag and sand all the edges because they don't chamfer. I don't know if they do offer chamfering. I just don't pay for it. So I got to go sand the frame before I put everything together. And then I got some old 7-inch props I'm going to run on it while I tune on it. They're not bent up or anything, but HQ 7 3.5s. And then, in case you weren't here earlier, Fox Ear GPS unit. I'm gonna try it out. Anybody out there using the Fox Ear GPS compass? I just seen the size of it, and I thought, you gotta be kidding me. Because my GPS and compass on my rescue drone is like that big. I mean, it's half the size of my palm. It's huge. So I'm interested. I hope it's good. I hope you don't come and comment like 4 of you like, it's terrible. Don't use that. Yeah, Flexo, you got a point though. You get into it too early, then you got a bunch of stuff sitting around that's not worth anything because it just moves so fast. I really, making videos and stuff. There was a point in time where it was like, I gotta make a video. I gotta make a video. Yeah, I'm kind of done with all that. I make a video when somebody needs help and then I share it. But it was just changing so fast. Like, how do you keep up with it? How do you keep up with the technology? I started a Facebook group called PropsOff Drone Tech, and I put issues in there. So if I see something like these tech bulletins I was talking about earlier, so if I see something that makes sense, like, oh yeah, that's going to affect quite a few people in my crew, I'll put that little bulletin in there. Or if somebody shares something that, just avoid problems and frustrations, I guess. So if you want to, on Facebook, join my Facebook group. It's PropsOff Drone Tech Facebook group. And it's just me sharing tech bulletins or issues, and that's about it. There's really nothing else in there. Yeah. See, isn't that something? So Flexo's bringing up a really good point. Like, so got into it a little bit later, got the V2 goggles, got this, got that, and everything just kind of worked, and it worked good, and it was clear, and and that's the thing. If somebody gets pieces and parts that don't marry up very good, or the manufacturer does a sloppy job and instructions or whatever, and they get frustrated. I'm not kidding, guys. I pick one person a week I just pick them out of the blue because honestly, their questions, the things that they're saying make sense. The things that they're saying are like, hey, you know what? Here's my problem, and I can read what they're saying, and I know that they've read all that they've read. They've really researched it, and they're stuck, and they're having a problem. So I'll get a hold of them on Facebook, and I'll say, you working on it now? And if they say yes, I'll say, you speak English? Because that's the only language I can speak. And I'll call them up. And I talk to people all over the world, at least once a week. More than that sometimes. But it just kills me when they're like, hey, thanks so much for calling me. Here's my issue. And I've had this stuff for 3 months and haven't been able to fly it. Like, those people give up. Those people quit the hobby. Of course, these people that have hardcore stick-to-itiveness, they're gonna figure this out, but a lot of people don't. They just sell it or they give it to somebody. They just don't want nothing to do with it, and then we lose them in the hobby because they just can't simply figure it out. I wish I knew a lot more than I do. I can only express a lot of stuff, like things that I can experience. And then people that I hang out with, they'll tell me, and I appreciate that when I'm around people and they tell me issues they've had or things they ran into, because then it makes my bag of tools stronger. Greed says, Fox is best everything. Okay. Imagine if quads flew as well in 16s they do now. Oh, I can't even imagine. I think we needed those years of progression. Because I've had some people show up to our races here locally, and man, it took me like a minute. What was it? A minute and 2 seconds to do 3 laps on one of the global qualifiers. Screecher comes down, and I think was it 32 or 37 seconds. Don't quote me. They're so fast. I don't think I think it was a good thing I didn't have that technology in my hands back then, because I would have went through so much money. I mean, we're talking 16, 17. I'm flying with like zero camera angle, just straight deck. Pardon me. I think I'm going to hang up the live stream here in a minute. I'm going to have to get something to drink. Some water. Yeah, never had the frustration step. Just set everything up and it was awesome. That's the way it should be. Especially when these people are buying and fly kits. I mean, some of these people were like, yeah, I bought this kit and I powered it up and it won't work. And then we go in and look and like things are turned on that shouldn't be on. Things are turned off. One of them, the receiver wasn't even set up. It's like, this is not a bind and fly kit. Those things aren't set up. I was really frustrated. I actually got a hold of the manufacturer. Morton likes to build. Problem is, man, is you end up with too many quads. And if you're like me, I don't know. I do pretty good. I destroy them or lose them. And once I get to a certain amount, like I'll have 3 of those and 3 of those and 3 of those. And that's it. I've got 9 working quads and that's all I need. But honestly, if I had hobby dollars to burn, I think I'd have one of them walls like I see on Facebook. Or like Stu at UAV Futures. He's got what is it, like a hog fence behind him covered in drones? Yeah, if it ain't working, it's frustrating. I think I have everything I own right now is working. I don't have I have what 6, 7, 8, 9, not including like little whoops and stuff. Everything's working right now. Yeah. That's the other thing, when people are asking advice and it's like, hey, buy a pre-built quad and fix on it, and that will give you the skills and the learning that you need for building one. I think that's the way to go. Is my chat not moving on? Is my chat not moving over here? I just noticed that. I haven't refreshed it. Well, that's a bummer. I hate when I do that. All these things you got to keep track of. There. I should be updated now. I learned to build by repairing my bind and fly. Then I learned to tune, switch to 3D. But I already knew supposed to fly. Tuning would bend. Shits with no experience. Yeah. Hey, Flexo, did you see, I think Zoe just came out yesterday with a giveaway for the new 3D prototype. I don't know if it's a giveaway, but she's looking for a 3D. Are you already in on that? Chat is stuck on the stream. I think I accidentally, I don't know if I minimized it or what. So I think I'm up to date on here. Yeah, Flexo. She came on Facebook, I think, and was wanting people to let her know. Like she was looking for people to test out the prototypes. So check that out. I want a 3D. So this is my. Oh, see what I do? I put little notes. So when I grab it, I'm like, oh, what's wrong? Oh, yeah, I'm missing a screw for my ESC stack. So I remember to fix that before I take it and go fly. But this is my favorite is 3-incher. And this frame is bulletproof. I say that now, but this frame is absolutely. I've nosedived this into a curb. I was perching a street light, and I popped up, and I don't know what I was thinking. I had air mode off. I was still holding the air mode off, and I did a loop, and it just went straight into the curb. No issues. So this frame is really good. But I want to 3D this quad. It's weird because when I do sims, I 3D. I don't fly regular in a sim. I fly. I don't know if it's because of my 3D heli days of simulator, but I fly 3D in liftoff. But I want to 3D that. But those props 3D are terrible. They don't work very good. FPV-ish, how you doing? Love building them up, setting them up. That's what it takes so long. Yeah, you could have, I mean, it take a couple hours to build one and then 7 hours of playing with it in beta flight or whatever. It's like there's two sections of the chat window. It's coming through now good, right? Make sure I'm up to date because I can see 2.5 months. Yeah, I think I'm up to date now. I did. I had minimized the window and it froze it. I see 2 chat windows. Oh, you have okay, so you have the chat window that I put above me right here, and then you have chat open on your phone so you can use it. Is that Blau? Welcome to the live stream. 3D is way more fun. I'll be honest with you. I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to do it. I just need decent props because the ones that I have aren't very good. The peanut butter and jelly seem all right, but I really don't want to 3D my 5-inch because I've only got 2 of them. Or I only got one. I've got one freestyle 5-inch, and I don't want to bash it up. So I'd like to do my 3-inchers, but I haven't really found a very good prop for that. But it's like one of them things. Like, okay, I'm kind of getting bored freestyling, so like maybe doing the 3D will help it out. Thanks, Flexo. And 2 seconds to break. And it don't take much. I'm really good at crashing. I have this problem. It's called target asphyxiation. You learn it in motorcycle school, but target asphyxiation, I don't understand. I will look at the edge of So if I'm flying through a tree or I'm flying close to the ground or I don't know, sometimes I will look at the object and I'll say, don't hit that. And I will fly right into it. I mean, I will fly right, telling myself the whole time not to do it. Yeah, you're streaming on your TV. That's the way to do it. Myopic says Zoe was pushing the gem fam for the 3D props. Hope she's successful. Yeah, she's asking for prototype testers. So I asked if there was a 3-inch version. We'll see if I get a response. I don't know. I thought 3D props were made differently, just for 3D. Peanut butter and jelly are really only made for one way. It's true. 3D props don't have that the fat edge and the thin lip. You know, they're more blunt. Most 3D props I've ever seen are bullnose, so they're just kind of flat and bullnosed. The peanut butter and jellies I was saying are better than the like my 3-inch props. They're terrible for 3D. They are not good for 3D at all. Up is down and down is expensive. That's funny. Bored of freestyling, time to go fast. You know, that's why this thing is so fun. Uh-oh, what happened? Not enough memory. That's interesting. Lost my chat window because of memory. Bear with me 1 second here. It looks like my chat went away and then my live stream hiccuped. It's like, come back. I'm not done yet. Try not to put that over my face. There we go. Yeah, so before I was interrupted, going fast. That's what this thing is something else. It's super fun. It hovers at like 7-8% throttle, 7 or 8%, and it's kind of twitchy. I don't know how to describe it. It's like I don't know. It's like a balancing act, and I mean you could see it freestyles good. I'll share a video of it. Nobody. Oh, that make sure that don't play on there like that. See if I could pop this over. So this is my This is my another FPV video nobody's gonna watch video. Make sure I got sound on. So this is the super duper, you know, in action. Just I don't know how to describe it. Like you just pop that throttle and man, you'll be right over top of a tree. Like 2-second blip, it's over a water tower. It's just really fun. I think it's it's the funnest quad I've flown in a long time. Yeah, racing. You can go through some parts pretty fast racing. I got the Cool Whip turned me on to those race frames. The open racer frame, that tank. I know it's heavy. I don't care because it is protected. I probably wouldn't. I couldn't afford to race if it wasn't for that. Use GemFan 51477 with 2 opposing corners flipped. Yeah, I was wondering about the 3D props, you know, the designated 3D props. Does that, you know, they chip real easy or they break off? Yeah, flash props. What is the frame? Blah? The Super Duper? Are you talking about this frame? Yeah, so I mean, you're seeing the freestyle video. I mean, obviously I'm not pushing real hard on it or anything, but I like that. Just cruising around and having fun. I'm not too into the flip floppy thing. This Super Duper doesn't flip and floppy too well. Yeah, the Super Duper frame. Let me actually, if you're interested in that, let me pause that for a second here. Go back out. Make sure stream is following me like it should. So in this playlist, I have the Super Duper build. But don't use the HGLRC flight controller. Find a different one. I had 3 of them, and all 3 of them went bad so fast. It had a lot of issues. So far, the Mamba F740's been good, but I think it's already discontinued because I can't find it anymore. I know that Speedy B came out with an all-in-one. But yeah, it's been kind of frustrating to get a hold of stuff like that. So it's really cool, this frame. I actually talked to Serge at Pyrodrone. I don't have any affiliation with them, but here's the video right here of the giveaway. So I kind of show all the pieces and parts. But this is his UL5, so Ultralight 5 is what the frame is. And it's a Pyrodrone. You know, the frame is cut and it says Pyrodrone on it. But yeah, it's in there. And then also in my build video series. So if you look at the build series, do you see on the right hand side in the green, like the pigtail, the VTX, the frame, the beeper, the receiver. I broke it all down like that so you can check out the frame. And I go through all the measurements and weights and everything. But yeah. Was that the 639? You know what? Interesting per volt. This quad, let me jump back to the bench here. So these motors are discontinued. I got a hold of Diatone, and the company that made these motors for them doesn't exist. So those motors are no longer. But these are the 349, what would be considered. So these are 1408, 4000 kV motors. So that's because I'm running 4S. But that would be the 349. Now here's an interesting thing. They came out with the Eachine ER 349, okay? And they were using a 32-bit ESC in it. And then they came out with the GT 349, and every reviewer said it was the most amazing thing. After those reviews came out, that flight controller and ESC stack became a 8-bit ESC. They put a BLHeli S ESC in it after all the reviews came out. That's all I got to say about that. I have the original. From, I think it was the beginning of 2019 or the end of 2018. The original Eachine ER 349 with the 32-bit ESC in it. So that is the original ESC. And to buy one now, if you can find stock on it, it's like $55. But you can tell it's the original 32-bit because do you see how the motor pad is on the back, a single, and then there's two there, and then there's a, see if I get the light in there. But yeah, on the standoffs, there's a single on each end, and then there's 4 in the middle, and that's how you could tell. And then the BLHeli S 8-bit ESC, they're all 6 of them are in between the standoffs. But that motor combination and ESC, simply amazing. What size pack do I run on that? Hey Philip, how you doing? Welcome to the live stream. What size pack do I fly on the Super Duper? I fly a 650 4S. So a Tattoo 650 4S. And that way I could stay under the 250 grams. Yeah, I was trying to dance with that other quad. Yep. Yeah, Grim ended up showing up kind of toward the end of the day there. Or I was getting ready to leave when he showed up. The UL5 frame. So agreed you fly the UL5. Put 18 motors on mine. A little 4S50 3S. Yeah. It's a great frame. I'll beat that up. Shh, Morton. Shh. What size props are those in the videos? Those are the 5-inch peanut butter and jelly. I put so many different props on this quad, and the peanut butter and jellies just did such a good job of not cavitating, because most of them would cavitate. A 5-inch prop running at that RPM, they're gonna cavitate. You're gonna hear it too, and it's gonna not sound good. And that's a good way to have, burnt motors and all kinds of issues. FPV-ish. I tell you what, I was really frustrated. All 3 of those HGLRC boards just hack. But man, the Zeus Nano VTX, they've been completely legitimate. BMI 270. Super duper nice. I couldn't agree more. I love flying it. I don't have any of the earlier prototypes. I have an interesting story if you want me to tell you it of why did the Super Duper even come about, but I've been wanting to try DSY 65 stack. Don't know if it's worth crap though. I haven't owned any DYS anything. So the Super Duper Mega Ultralight was a project that I worked on for a group of people overseas because they're not allowed to fly anything 250 and up. Like period. You're not allowed to fly anything 250 and up. Which I think is ridiculous, but I don't want to get into that historical thing about Revolutionary War and everything else. But I started off with the teeny LEDs frame, and it kept breaking. I had multiple frames. It's so easy to snap right where the motor mount is. So that's why when I talked to Serge about this, that was a big hit, and then had him move the crossbars in a little bit. But I worked on this project for these guys overseas, and I went through a prototype. I mean, it was 9 months I worked on like getting all this just the way it needed to be, and so that they could fly something wicked that's 250, sub 250. The problem is I fell in love with it because that's all I want to fly. When it comes to freestyle, that's it. And honestly, I don't have the skills to put it around the racetrack. I just don't. I would have to have like Colin or Screecher or somebody else put it through its paces on the track, because I just don't. I can't. It's just too twitchy, too fast. But those guys overseas, they built up some pretty nice stuff. Unfortunately, you can't get those motors anymore, and I think that those motors might have unicorn magic in them. Yeah, you have 4 and only 1 works. Did testing between the MPU 6000 and they got the BMI down pretty good now. I know at first it was kind of rough. People making it, I don't think they understood how touchy the BMI 270, how touchy it is to voltage irregularities. And you look at the componentry on the flight controller, the voltage filters that go to the gyro, and you could tell it was like very elementary. And I think they figured it out. There's a lot more going on to keep that 3.3 volt signal smoothed out. So I think the BMI 270s are doing pretty good. Apache Smoke, how you doing? He said good morning. Oh man, I didn't even realize it was 1 o'clock in the morning. That's bonkers. I buy all my stacks off Amazon and put insurance on them. I tell you what, there's something to be said about that, because the only problem is every time I order something from Amazon, I shouldn't say every time. There's been 30% of the time I order something and it's used. Like it's got grass stains on it. Like they don't check it, to make sure it's not used. Fun for Volt says you still have 369 stuff in service. So that's the GT 369 6S 3-inch quad. I remember when Andy RC flew that for the first time, and you know how it is when you got a certain person reviewer on YouTube that you like. You like Nick Burns, you get used to their space. You kind of know how things fly, like how fast it moves, how wicked it is, what it sounds like. And those people on YouTube do a good job of staying in the throttle and pulling out of the throttle in the same spot. So you kind of get a good, general idea of what it's flying like. When Andy RC flew that 6S 3-inch, and that thing was just screaming across that field, I was like, I don't know. I wasn't getting into 6S, and I'll be honest with you, I don't own any 6S to this day. I just don't have, like, I can't, number wise, I can't think of like why I would want to spend money to go 6S. Because, I mean, you gotta think, it's pretty, going 6S from 4S is an expense because you gotta replace your motors. There's some things that you've wired up on VBAT that you have to change. You know, it's a little pricey, so I can't do it right now. $700 mph is a magic number for prop tip speed to keep them from cavitating. Yeah, 200. Like, what's up with that? That 250 gram rule. I think I read somewhere that stems from the Revolutionary War from something that's 250 grams or less than 250 grams falls from the sky and hits you. It won't kill you or massively damage you. Like that's where that came from. I can't believe that. New sub, appreciate that. Welcome to the PropsOff family. Craft 3D. Asuto. Is that Asuto? Asuto Craft? I'm terrible with names. I'll have to tell you right now when you come in here. I am terrible with names. You wanting to try 8S? I'll tell you what, Flexa, when I was at IO running that track for the mega class, and I was seeing some of these 8 and 12S, man, I don't know. If I built a beast class, you know, if I could really talk Ruby into sponsoring me, 8 or 12S, I don't know. 13-inch props. You guys tell me in chat, what do you think? 8 or 12S? mile an hour out of the box. You mean 99.9 controller? They did a little bait and switch in the box. That's what do you think of quad wings? Quad wings? Are you talking about a while back they had little waffle like wafer boards for freestyle to get more hang time? Is that what you mean by quad wings? Quad would fall out of the sky on lap 2 if full send. You making me think about when I had my outdoor racing this year. It was terrible. I ordered 5 new China Hobby Line Black 1500, and the previous ones I had worked great and lasted quite a while. I ordered 5 of them, and all 5 of them are garbage. I was trying to get the global qualifier done, and second lap around, that thing would completely fall out of the sky. Sometimes so bad that my VTX quit working. Want to do 8S at 80% throttle limit. You talking about doing 8S on a 6S quad? Yeah, 8S 5-inch, 12 or 13-inch. 8S feds don't like super high voltage. I mean, you know how it is. I mean, you go up in voltage, the lower your amp draw is. You know, it's inverse relationship. As volts go up, amps go down. So you're not really putting that much current through. But man, that pressure sitting on the back end is something. Yeah, 99.9 miles best speed. No, okay. Correct me if I'm wrong. No, a quad wing where it's like a flying delta wing, except for you take a tiny whoop and you convert it into a flying wing. Uses different thrust to fly. Uses differential thrust to fly. I haven't seen that. I've seen people turning the Whoop into a hovercraft. Yeah, stick time. That's it. You want to get faster? Stick time. Fortunately, I have a friend, FPV Gaps, and he twists my arms to race, and then MFR FPV, he twists my arm to freestyle. So those two those two guys are always making me get on the sticks. Morton says I would do 12S on an X class. 12S for 13-inch, says Bow. Okay. If that magical day ever comes to build a beast quad, I know they go 12S. Yeah, 8S, 5. That's what I thought you were saying. Yeah, yeah, you're not running as much amperage, your current draw. Yeah, I think I'm gonna close the live stream and go get something to drink. I need some water. 5 or 6 cents. Be waste energy to go 8S. Yeah, I just want to fly a 13-inch. It was really fun hanging out with you guys. I appreciate you coming to my channel and hanging out while I was messing around with this stuff. And I got caught up in the chat. I didn't even finish building anything or working on anything. But it was fun hanging out. I like other people's viewpoints and perceptions on all these different things. Before I close the live stream out, I just wanted to make sure that I share this again. I know some of you have seen it, heard it, and maybe tired of it. I want to just share it. I need to get the thing in chat here real quick. So I don't sell anything. I only have one affiliated link, and that's with Vifly, because they're the only company out there that said, here's our prototype. Would you help us design and make the product awesome? And then once the design phase was over with, they built it, they sent it to me. They didn't care what I said about it, good, bad, indifferent. And they really were supportive of just letting me have free will at whatever I wanted to say or do. So I do have an affiliated link with Vifly, but other than that, I don't sell anything. I just shared my website, and that is a link to my community share challenge. Let me see. Did I minimize it? Let me see here. Did that not come through? There we go. I'm terrible at these scene changes. I'm just muddling through it, trying to do the best I can. So anyway, this is my share challenge on my website, PropsOff.com, community challenge. And then in here, are you willing to share the FPV hobby with a total stranger? I have some information. Here's a video that I did of how, like an example of how I put a sign on the back of my truck and tell people about the hobby. And then I have a little video that kind of explains a little bit more about it. And then I have an RSVP form that only I can see, and that's for me to see how many people are interested in doing the challenge. And then I think I'd like to do like a 1.5 minute video of how you shared the FPV hobby with total strangers. So share this with other people and let's see what happens. 2025, a lot of my free time is going to go to trying to get more people in the hobby and to help some of these smaller organizations, STEM programs. I'll be with the multi-GP and drones in schools. I'll be doing tech, and I think that's in February. So yeah, just trying to like get the word out. But like I said, on my website I don't have anything for sale. I designed a t-shirt. I was thinking about selling it just so I could get like an updated camera, but I don't know, these cameras are doing all right. So any questions from anybody in chat? Happy New Year, Fun for Volt. All right. I appreciate everybody coming and hanging out and sharing the FPV hobby and sharing your experiences and things that you're involved in with me. I like it. I can visualize a lot of the stuff that you guys had talked about, so pretty cool. So I appreciate everybody. Y'all stay safe out there and enjoy the breeze. Have a great night. Happy New Year.